Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Experience podcast, inside the business, buzz, and brilliance of Black entrepreneurs. Here is your host, Dr. Frances Richards.
What happens in Vegas goes all over the world on Black Entrepreneur Experience, episode number 239. Our guests have sent us so much swag, books, and giveaways this year. I can't wait to announce our monthly winner. So if you want exclusive content delivered right to your inbox and to enter into our monthly drawing, go to drfrancesrichards.com and subscribe to our mailing list. That's drfrancesrichards.com. drfrancesrichards.com. That's drfrancesrichards.com and subscribe to our mailing list. We promise we will not spam you or sell your information. Thank you for joining us as we elevate the Black entrepreneur experience by interviewing CEOs, thought leaders, innovative thinkers, and Black entrepreneurs across the globe. I'm your host, Dr. Frances Richards. Our next guest creates high-quality apparel that promotes happiness. Happy Thoughts Apparel founder Evelyn Logan. Welcome, Evelyn.
Hello, thank you for having me.
You have really such an extensive bio. I'm going to allow you to fill in the gaps and share with our audience what you'd like them to know about you and your business.
Sure. So my career has spanned working in corporate, working in nonprofit, working in healthcare, and also being an entrepreneur. And in every single one of those experiences I've learned quite a bit. And I found that most of those things are connected. And so in corporate, I worked for JP Chase, where I was doing some finance work. In nonprofit, it's probably one of the best experiences I had as far as working for someone. I worked for the Points of Light Foundation, which is a nonprofit organization through the White House. Such a great experience there. And then kind of got into healthcare and have not left since. So about 12 years in healthcare now, working in patient experience, working in operations, really trying to bring about improvement processes to different hospitals as it relates to quality care, so the kind of care that we're giving our patients and their families every day. And so that has been so meaningful for me. I feel purposeful and fulfilled in doing that work and ensuring that when you come to a hospital, that you're receiving the best care and the best experience possible. That's pretty much my career. And then with being an entrepreneur, this Happy Thoughts is actually my third go at it. I had a company before that called Be Creative Design, where I created custom-made invitations and greeting cards for our customers. And then I kind of transitioned that organization into a marketing consulting firm where I helped small businesses and nonprofits with all of their collateral marketing materials. So if you needed a business card, a website, just things of that nature, and also providing recommendations as it relates to market research and their consumer behavior, so who their target audience is. It's a lot of work doing that as well, but I did transition back into healthcare after doing that, and I'm back to being an entrepreneur. And I think that what I've done this time around from my experiences and what I've learned is that I'm able to take all of the experiences from healthcare and from the nonprofit world and bring that into my business today. So Happy Thoughts is me, Happy Thoughts you, Happy Thoughts everyone who is willing to take the time to utilize their thoughts to create a positive experience for themselves. So, the connection with working in patient experience in the hospital setting and really evoking a certain type of emotion every time we ensure that people are receiving quality care and great experiences. You could see that translate into Happy Thoughts and the work that goes behind improving mental health.
Speaking of happy thoughts, and you touched on pivoting, that it's okay to pivot. And you talked about mental health. I'm going to slide in another, COVID-19. Give us your take.
Oh boy. So it's interesting that, 2020 would look the way it did. I think that it isn't as gloom and doom as many of us felt that it was. I think that it just depended on our perspective of how we saw it. So I would talk to friends and families who would say, "Oh, I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. This is unbelievable. How do you stay calm? What's going on?" And it's one of those things where, I had to come out and say, look, I'm not feeling the same way. And the reason why is because of a happy thought. It's because of starting a company or starting on a journey where I wanted to control my narrative. And so, my thought on COVID is I definitely get it. I definitely get how draining it could be, especially because I have so many colleagues and friends that work in healthcare, and they are dealing with the increases and the decreases and the changes in their workplace because of COVID. But I do think it's important. I think one of the things that's gotten me through COVID is that thought, is the positive thoughts, is keeping that at the forefront, is finding other ways to be grateful and enjoy the things that are in my life right now. In a way, I looked at COVID as that thing to kind of slow us down a little bit, to say, hey, if you just slow down and smell the roses, slow down and breathe a little bit, life won't feel as overwhelming as it may feel for you now. And so that's kind of the strategy. That's the thing, that's what Happy Thoughts has done for me. It's created a journey where I can look at the positives, I can be grateful, I can experience small things and appreciate that and say that is enough for me to continue to feel happy and positive in my everyday.
Speaking of being grateful, what are you grateful for now, Evelyn?
Oh, yes. There's so many things I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for the obvious, my family, my friends. I think it's important that you have people around you that support you every day. And that happens. That happens. Doesn't matter if I've talked to someone yesterday or 3 years ago. We always have those conversations that leave me feeling grateful that is a relationship that I'm happy to have. But I'm also grateful for my home. I know a lot of people have lost their homes. I'm grateful for the opportunity to start and be able to maintain Happy Thoughts through COVID and through all some of the other stuff that we've been dealing with as a nation. And so I'm truly grateful. I'm grateful, as mundane or silly as it may sound, for waking up every morning and being able to live out my day the way that I want to live it out. So many things that I'm grateful for every day.
Speaking of launching a business during COVID, talk about finances and the motivation behind launching in what some could look at as a very challenging time.
Yeah. So launching a business during COVID, I actually launched the business before COVID. So I launched Happy Thoughts October, November of 2019, very close to when COVID started. And so, when I started Happy Thoughts, I was thinking about how can you bring more happiness to the world? What can you do to bring more happiness to the world? And so when COVID hit, and for me, really, I think it really hit in March. I think many people knew certain things were going on in February. We were still living out our days. I know the kids, they didn't cancel their schools until mid-March. And so when that hit, it was a challenge for Happy Thoughts because we source our tshirts from Peru. They make 100% PIMA cotton there, and that's what our tshirts are made out of. And so we had to stop work. They stopped working in Peru. It was an online retail. It is an online retail store, but we had to continue to operate. We had already put it out there that we had this business, but we didn't have any products. And on top of that, production has stopped. So they stopped manufacturing, they stopped producing the shirts. And so we had to figure out, and I say we because I had a social media specialist. I had hired one person part-time, and my husband was helping out as well. So we had to figure out ways to continue to share our message and stay afloat during COVID times. And, finances, a lot of the finances came from me. So my husband and I, we financed Happy Thoughts. We also had family members who wanted to participate. So they funded Happy Thoughts as well. And then we did at the end had to get a line of credit. We wanted to do something where we were doing it on our own with no help from banks and things of that nature. But we did because we were still operating, but we weren't generating any revenue. And so I think the hardest part was trying to get the products in-house so that people could experience exactly what we had been talking about. So from about March to August, we had no products. We were just online building our website presence. We were building our social media presence. We were focusing on our packaging materials and also trying to build partnerships and relationships with not just retailers out there. They were closed, but they were trying to do pickups, curbside pickup and things like that. So we were trying to build partnerships to where if we could provide our products there when they got here, would they be able to add that to their services? The other thing that we were trying to do, because one of our biggest goals when we started Happy Thoughts was around mental wellness and the importance of mental wellness and the importance of building a good mental, well-being, being in a good mental well-being state. And so we had said in our marketing plan and our business plan that at year one, and when we hit 1 year, we were going to start to put some of the proceeds from our revenues to mental health programs, specifically in underserved areas. One of the things that I've experienced working in healthcare is that a lot of the mental health programs are out there and the education is out there and they're increasing awareness, but you don't see that in underserved communities where they don't have the resources to share what it means to cope with the things that you may be dealing with. And so even though our inventory did not get here until September, and we did not really start selling in October hit our 1 year anniversary, and we did not let down. We said, look, we are going to still do this. And so we went and started a program where 15% of every shirt purchase, every t-shirt purchase will go to mental wellness programs. And so what we've done on our website is we've created a place for organizations, nonprofit organizations to come to the site and give us some information. And then at the beginning of 2021, we are going to put a nomination out there and we're hoping that people fill it out so that, the grant money that we've put aside, will go to organizations who need more resources to improve mental wellness in underserved communities. So that's a big piece for us. And we're happy that we were able to get that off the ground in the way that we wanted to, despite everything that had happened with COVID. But yeah, it definitely affected us as a business. And it's still affecting many businesses today. I speak to business owners all the time, through networking and things of that nature. And the conversation is around, I hope I can keep my door open through 2021.
Speaking of brands and businesses, talk about a brand or business that's dominating that you admire and why.
So the biggest brand for me, especially delving into clothing and the industry, the t-shirt industry and things like that, I've always admired is Ralph Lauren, the Polo brand, Lauren brand, just Ralph Lauren in general. I think they do a great job of staying true to their foundation, which is keeping it traditional, keeping it classic, always having classic pieces, high quality pieces. And they also do a lot of work around social responsibility, which is so important for me. As you scale and you get big as an organization, how much of social responsibility are you applying to not just your internal work or your internal operations every day, but to your customers and your non-customers for that matter? What is your social responsibility for our society when you've built a brand to the level that they have and they've been able to live their mantra there? On a personal note, I tell you, a brand that I admire and admire more through these times that we're going through is a personal friend, colleague of mine. He has a Jamaican restaurant in Minnesota. I think he was the first one there, and he may still be the only one in Minneapolis, but it's a Pimento Jamaican Kitchen. His name is Tommy Beavis. He's a CEO and head chef there. And, he has gone from starting this business maybe in 2000, wanting to start the business in 2004 to having 2 locations in Minneapolis. But what is amazing about what he has done is that through the civil unrest of what we were dealing with this year with George Floyd, he took his restaurant and turned it into a safe haven and a place where people could come and get supplies while they were out there, protesting. And so he completely just, transitioned his store to make sure that people were safe while they were in the streets during this time. But the great part is he has continued that, and he has partnered with other organizations in Minneapolis to continue the work around providing resources for the underserved communities in Minneapolis. So it's amazing to see you start with a concept, and your concept has brought you to a place where you're truly making a difference in the world. It's amazing to see.
What can we do right now, Evelyn, to help Happy Thoughts Apparel?
Share it. Even if it isn't, your time to purchase a tee. And we are expanding our line, by the way, but maybe it isn't your time, but share the thought. I am on a mission to build a culture of happiness, one thought at a time, one tee at a time. And so share our company. We post every day on social media, something positive, something happy, something to really get your day going. So follow us on social media. But most importantly, start to create a culture of happiness with you. If you wake up every day and you say, I'm going to be happy today and nothing's going to take that away, and you live out that day like that, you've supported and helped Happy Thoughts. And then, it helps to, have a little reminder. That's what our t-shirts do. We feel like it's a holistic way to help you cope and also to bring about positivity in your day. So I know our audience can't see it, but I have our Justice and Peace shirt on, which brought about a positive spin. It's something that we created this year because of all the social injustice and civil unrest that we saw in the country this year. We wanted to do a little positive spin on all of that. And so we created a shirt. I designed the fist that you see on the shirt, but we created the shirt, and on the shirt, it says justice, peace, together. So just acknowledging that it takes all of us to really get to where we want to get to with justice and peace. And it takes a step in moving forward and looking at it from a positive spin, from a positive point of view. So, just things like that, I think really helps. But it also helps that we have support, we have people purchasing, because part of the proceeds go to mental wellness programs. And so those are great ways to help. Other ways is, if you are an organization that is really advocating for mental wellness and better health mentally, we want to partner. We want to talk. We want to network with you, because it is about doing it together. It is about building a culture where we feel positive. We feel good about ourselves every day. We feel good about the people that we're around. We feel good about the decisions that we're making. And so if we're able to do that and you see a ripple effect with that, I think we would be in a better place as a country. It's not to minimize or diminish anything that we have going on in the country right now, but it is to say that, I truly believe that if we, are positive and we stay happy and we push ourselves in that realm to say positive things, to think positive things, to listen to positive things, to recycle positive things, I think that we would be at a place we're happier, we're doing things in a different way. One point that I always like to make is that, we don't realize it, but on average, each person thinks about 12,000 to 60,000 thoughts a day. 12,000 to 60,000 thoughts a day, each person, right? And, studies have suggested that 80% plus of those thoughts are negative and consistent. So it's what keeps me up at night. I often think about, what if, we brought that number down to where the average person only does 60% of negative thoughts, from 80%. How would that truly change all of our lives if that's done?
Evelyn, what do you need right now that you don't have to move the needle forward?
I think the obvious one is unlimited finance. But I also think having a team around you with different skill sets is vital. Having someone who understands technology, having someone who understands branding in today's world and marketing in today's world, with social media being such a big piece of how we market and brand today. And so I would say, having a team around you to get it done and having the finance to be able to expand really.
What is the best decision that you have made as a leader?
Oh man, that's a tough one. As a leader, I would say allowing your team to be who they are. As a leader, I believe the best decision that I've made is having the right people around me. I think we don't do it alone. I think when you're out there in the workforce, you're not doing it alone. When you're out there leading, you're not doing it alone. And you have to recognize that you're not doing it alone and that you have people around you who are supporting you and who are doing it with you. And so I would say that the best decision is always bringing about a team that has the work ethic, the professionalism, and the know-how to get the work done.
What problem exists in the world today that you would like to solve?
I alluded to one of them. My biggest one is I'd love to eradicate racism. That's the biggest one for me. It's tough to put your head around color being a decision maker, color of people being a decision maker. So that would be my first. It's a long-term problem, however. The second thing, though, is what I alluded to earlier, which is we as humans tend to think more negative than positive. And I would love to get into research, just really understanding us as people to understand how we could shift that. If we know that positive thoughts and positive things bring about positive results, why do we spend so much of our time thinking in the negative realm? Is it social media? Is it marketing? Is it what we see every day? What is it truly that has put us there? And so those will be the two problems: eradicating racism and also solving the problem of the way we think, our thoughts around negativity.
Evelyn, I want you to have a dialogue with this person in your lineage, and you're going to name that person. And you're going to talk to them about this lesson or something that was very profound that they taught you. And what would you say to them? And what was that lesson? And who is that person?
Wow, that person would probably be Chinua Achebe, who is a Nigerian author. I've never met him, but he wrote a book called Things Fall Apart years ago. I'm thinking 60s or 70s. And I would say to Chinua that I am a first generation Nigerian American. You wrote this book about the culture of Nigeria, specifically the Igbo culture. And I learned a lot about my culture. It was profound in the way that it helped me to understand why my dad or my brothers made the decisions that they made. I saw them in those characters, but in a different time. And so I would say to him that I've lived in America for a very long time. And there's a lot that I did not know about my culture that book brought about. And it has shaped the way that I communicate with my brothers, my dad, many other Nigerian men and Nigerian women as well.
Talk about the top two people in your life that influenced you and what lessons did they teach you?
The first is my mom. My mom, I've not seen anybody stronger. She has taught me how to move forward. She is influential in my life for sure. She's taught me how to feel comfortable being a woman, being a Black woman, being a woman with a cultural background, being from Nigeria. She's taught me how to navigate in a world that may at times seem difficult to navigate in. One of the things that I believe she's given me is strength. When you deal with so much at different levels, you need to be strong, stay strong. And so that skill in of itself has bode well for me in my life, whether it be career wise, whether it be in my marriage, whether it be with my children. And so I think it's really important to highlight that she's been the most influential person in my life. Outside of my family, Maya Angelou has been very influential in my life as well. She, in a way, reminds me of my mom, strong, very well versed in life, not afraid to talk about failures. I know why the Cage Bird Sing is one of my favorite books, a lot of her poems, and just who she exemplified. I'll tell you a quick story that will show how much she's been such a figure in my life. So back in college, way back when, I won't tell anyone when that was, I took an acting class, and the end project, you were supposed to pick someone that you admire and play that person. So I picked Maya Angelou, and I picked an interview that she did. And my professor was so floored by the performance, she thought I could be an actress. But it's because I admired her so much that I wanted to pay respects and homage to just who she was as a person. And so I don't know how I did in all my other classes that semester, but I could not very well end the project in the semester in this class and not show up for Maya. And so she has been influential in many ways. I think when you see portrayal of strong women who are doing great things and who are staying positive and who are really looking for a way to serve others, that's just inspiring.
What do you attribute to your greatest success?
So I think it's staying the course. I think when you're able to not give up, stay the course, regardless of what it looks like, I think you're bound to run into success. And so in any parts of my life, when I look at what has made me successful, it is doing the little things, celebrating the little things, the little successes, and then also, celebrating the big successes. And so what has gotten me there, is just doing it. It's just moving forward. It's just not giving up. It's giving myself an opportunity to not worry about anything except for what I have in front of me and just doing that. So I would say success, it comes at different levels. I'm always celebrating successes. It's part of what I talk about when I say I'm grateful. I look at that as a success, those things that I'm grateful for. And so I'm always celebrating successes. But I think what has made me successful is, yes, celebrating those little successes, but also just keep moving, keep going forward.
Evelyn, you talked about being a problem solver, and you also mentioned about the challenge that you had getting your t-shirts during COVID-19. How did you solve that problem?
So the biggest thing was trying to remain relevant with no product. And one of the ways we solved that was to remain relevant. So we were on social media all the time, really trying to build our brand, while also working with our manufacturer to see when we would be able to get our t-shirts in. We also had to take into consideration the factors of shipment because it is coming from Peru and having to go through the process of getting the shipment into the country and to us. And so the best way to solve that was we did pre-orders. We had pre-orders out there. You can pre-order the shirts. We had samples. And so that's what we did. We tried to get our models in t-shirts so that people could see people in there. We were trying to do everything we could to ensure folks that, it was a great quality product, to build awareness around the product before the product even got here. But that's how we solved it. We increased our presence on social media. We spent a lot of time on social media. I had hired a part-time social media specialist who came in and tried to really set up the site, the different sites, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, and all those. And then, we went from there, and then we started pre-orders. Maybe about a month before we actually got the shirts, we knew that they were coming. It took about 2 weeks to ship the shirts. So we knew they were definitely coming. So we started pre-orders and we focused on that. We focused on building relationships with other businesses, really just doing everything that we could with what we had, meeting ourselves right there, knowing that, hey, we don't have any products in-house. And we were also honest about it on social media. One of the campaigns that I started was around getting the t-shirts in. So sending an update to our customers or our followers, people who are already following us, sending an update to them, letting them know, hey, we don't have t-shirts. We don't have the t-shirts in yet, but they are coming. And, here's the update. Here's the process. We are now sewing. handcrafting them to make sure they're the best quality for you. We are now printing the designs on them and things like that. And so really keeping people in the process as well.
What is something that you wish you knew before starting your businesses?
Outside of COVID? Oh, okay. Let's see. It's tough because, I've had two businesses before. And, it was more taking what I've learned from those businesses and applying it to this one. And so if there was something as it relates to this particular business that I wish I would have known prior to starting, it would probably be knowing a little bit more about the industry, the process of designing a t-shirt, of designing clothing, the clothing themselves, the fabric, coloring, the dyeing of the fabric and things of that nature, really, really understanding that process a little bit more. I spent some time researching it prior to starting, but I would have wanted to know a little bit more about, measurements, sizing, and all of the things that's really important to the customer.
Evelyn, if someone wrote a book about you, what is something that we would learn about you that we don't know about you?
That's a good one. Let's see. I'm an open book as it is. So it's hard to say what exactly. I think that what they would probably learn from the book is that I'm here to serve others. Like, I feel like that is my purpose in life. And I think that would be apparent in a book that's written about me, that I want to live every day being kind. I want to stay happy no matter what. And I want to be of service to others. If I can improve someone's mental health, if I can bring something to someone, if I could give someone advice that changes their life, things of that nature, that's where I feel the most fulfilled. And I think that's what people would get from a book.
What have you not done in life that you dream about often that you would like to do?
I'm a dreamer. So I got a few, but I'll give you, one of my biggest dreams is to own an island. So that's something I've not done yet, but it is something that I know I will do. It's something that, one of the reasons why I like the concept of owning an island, I'm such a social person, but every now and again, I like to just relax in my own self, whatever that is. And so being able to go to somewhere that belongs to me, that I can go and just do that, it's pretty nice. And so that's something definitely on my bucket list, to own one. And I'd also like to visit Fiji too. So that's another bucket list, and that's an island itself, but that one's already taken.
What is the vision for your business?
So the vision is to provide happiness through comfort. The vision is to bring so much comfort to someone that they too want to spread that comfort and that happiness. I often call our t-shirts mental wellness tees, because I truly believe it's a holistic way changing any kind of negative thought you may be feeling. It's a reminder on your chest, it's your badge telling you almost every day that this is, don't go there, think positive instead, kind of thing. And so I think that, yeah.
Talk about your most memorable moment in life or business.
So the most memorable moment would have to be when I met Maria Shriver. I worked for the Points of Light Foundation. As I mentioned, it's a nonprofit organization created by the White House to mobilize people to volunteer more. I worked there for a few years. It's such a great experience. I got to meet many people. I also got to meet, President George Bush at the time was in office when I worked for the Points of Light. And so we did a lot of work there, but we did something called the Extra Mile. And the Extra Mile was a campaign and a project that put medallions on the floors, on the streets of DC between certain block radius. And the medallions were for people who have really made a difference in the lives of Americans every day. So you had Clara Barton on there, one of my favorite people. You had Martin Luther King. and a whole host of other medallions for people to be able to walk by. That experience was great. And so when we were doing the unveiling, after all the medallions were down and we were doing the unveiling, Maria Shriver was there, as well as Bill Clinton, Hillary, George Bush, and his wife, George Bush Sr., who actually started the Points of Light with 1,000 Points of Light in 1988. So anyway, that experience of meeting her, we were setting up. I was part of the setup crew. She came and we spoke for probably about 15 seconds, but I swear it felt like 10 minutes. But, she looked at me and she thanked me and she asked me how I was doing. I shared that with her. She shared just a couple of thoughts and, we kept it moving. It was very brief, but it was memorable because she felt powerful. She felt strong. She felt like just her presence. And all of those little things really help as you're growing from a lady to a woman when you have those kind of experiences. And so she has shaped some things as well on how, I approach people. And she was so comfortable to be around that it also kind of sparked something in me to say, are you creating an environment where anyone can come and speak to you at any time, regardless of their status? And that's one of the things that I had taken away from that brief, very brief conversation with Maria Shriver.
Evelyn, what is some advice you wish you had followed?
Oh, man, keep going. So I know, I've said that a couple of times, but it's so important, early on, the idea of not giving up, keep going, even when it looks or seems like failure, just keep going. There were many times in my lives where I was like, no, I hear you, but I can't keep going on that, and I really did create the limitation for myself by saying that. And so when I look at my business now and of all the things that could have stopped me, COVID and, not having the shirts in and, only really sharing social media messages when you want to do more for your customers and your followers and things like that, I didn't stop. I kept going. And so I think that that's one of the things that I've learned today that wasn't present in my life before.
What are you reading now and why?
Right now, I've actually circled back to a book that has changed my life. It's called The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. I actually learned about The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles through listening to your podcast in 2019. You had a guest on here that spoke of the book briefly, and I went and researched the book and started reading it. And just like that guest, it has had a profound impact on my life. So much so that it's the reason why I named the company Happy Thoughts. There's many other reasons, but this is a key reason. The book really talks about thought. It talks about creating your narrative through your thought. And that's what you're doing every day. So it's connected, and it really is connected to what I'm doing every day. And it's who I am today. And so what I do is, every now and again, I'll circle back and read the book. So I've circled back, and that's the book that I'm reading right now. And I'm a heavy Audible person now. So a lot of my books I'm listening to versus reading. But yeah, that is definitely the book that I'm back on right now.
Evelyn, if you conducted this interview, what is the one question you would have asked yourself? I want you to ask the question and answer it.
Yes. So the one question is, why are you an entrepreneur? And the answer is because I love to create. I love, 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 love creating. I love the freedom of working at 10 p.m. if I want to, or getting up at 7 a.m. to start work. I like creating my own schedule. I like the idea that I could develop something, create it, and execute it, and implement it, and sustain it, maintain it, and that's something that I did. Also, I like the freedom of being able to spend more time with my family when I need to, making my own schedule and things of that nature. So I became an entrepreneur because I wanted the freedom to be able to create. I wanted the freedom not to be limited by just my title and my role in that title, in the workplace, but my title, wearing multiple hats, and I know that's a double-edged sword, wearing multiple hats as an entrepreneur, but it's actually one of the things that I appreciate about being an entrepreneur as well.
We've come to the part of our interview. It's called Fun Facts Lightning Round. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I'd like you to give me very quick answers. If there's something you desire not to answer, feel free to say pass. Are you ready for the Fun Facts Lightning Round?
I am definitely ready for it.
The last movie you saw?
Cloud Atlas.
You relax doing what?
Listening to music.
What food you eat every week, no matter what?
Some form of greenery, like salad, green bean. I'm eating green.
Your first job?
McDonald's. At 14, by the way. I was just put the age on there. At 14, McDonald's.
Your favorite singer or rapper?
John Coltrane.
Your favorite dance song?
Skywalker by Miguel.
Work out or hit the couch?
Ooh, depends on the day, but today definitely work out.
Evelyn, thank you so much for joining us on Black Entrepreneur Experience Podcast. Before we let you go, why don't you share with our audience the best way for them to connect with you and to do business with you? And don't forget to give all your social media handles.
Yes, so you can definitely catch us every day, daily on Instagram and Facebook at Happy Thoughts Apparel. We're also on Twitter at Happy Thoughts AP. Our website is www.happythoughtsapparel.com. You can always email us at info@happythoughtsapparel.com. And that's the best way to get in touch with us.
Thank you, Evelyn. That's a wrap.
Thank you so much for having me today. Take care.
Subscribe to our mailing list to receive weekly updates and exclusive content delivered right to your inbox. Go to drfrancisrichards.com. That's drfrancisrichards.com to subscribe to our mailing list and be entered into our monthly drawing. That's drfrancisrichards.com, drfrancisrichards.com to subscribe to our mailing list and be entered into our monthly drawing. We promise we won't spam you or sell your information.
Thank you for listening and subscribing to Black Entrepreneur Experience. We would love for you to leave a review and rating on iTunes and share with your friends. For show notes and more episodes, go to www.beepodcast.com. Join us next Wednesday, and remember, green is the new black. So keep your bank accounts and your business in the black.